I've just completed Sons of the Forest on Steam, and boy, do I have a lot to say about it. First and foremost, if you're curious to see if the game is worth its $30 asking price, I must say, yeah, it totally is. If you're coming here for a review praising it and nurturing it like a little child, however, then you're probably not going to be too happy watching this. I posted earlier on the channel how I was having an ecstatic time playing Sons of the Forest, the long-awaited sequel to its amazing hit predecessor, The Forest. Most famous for its extremely large environment and hostile alien-like enemies, The Forest deserved every bit of praise it got in the survival horror genre. I'm starting to sound like a broken record with these. Jesus, I gotta switch up the wording. Anyways, you're probably associated with the first game, as am I. You and I both know how much hype this sequel has gotten since it was announced, and I think I was on a long list of eager players waiting to dive in and discover all kinds of secrets. The first game's mysteries were the biggest case to crack. Finding all of the hidden loot and forbidden areas in that game felt so unreal but authentic at the same time. The story wasn't necessarily its selling point, but even with a silent protagonist, you can demonstrate a lot of emotion. With Sons of the Forest, it's a whole new ballgame. There's new locations, new mechanics, new ways to craft your items, new ways to set up camp. Everything's new. One huge plus I had to give is the more than forgiving map system integrated on your PDA, or whatever the hell this is. With plenty of blips and points of interest displayed for you, there's no telling what the hell you'll find out there in the forest. We're introduced to the game's story right off the bat with an introduction inside the helicopter. Our character has a tattoo on his right wrist that says "Fight Demons," which kinda sounds like a generic quote you'd find on my father's back. Somehow, the helicopter is attacked and it falls straight out of the sky. Needless to say, you awaken, you're bruised, beaten, but not dead. Your friend Kelvin is with you, but he can no longer hear anything due to his strange injury. This means that in order to communicate with him, you'll have to hilariously interact with your notepad and write messages for him. Oh, he can't hear! Oh, he can't hear! So this is how I communicate with him? As far as I can tell, Kelvin is capable of handling many different tasks on his own. You can ask him to find certain things, you can change what he's wearing if you find some new clothes. He's a very helpful AI teammate. Unfortunately, he isn't the greatest at sticking by your side constantly, and he can't go with you to more complex underground areas or cave entrances. Still, having him out and about in the world is a huge quality factor that makes me believe in the development of the game so far. So far? Yeah, I guess I forgot to mention, this game is apparently in early access. Guys, I'm not shaming the game when I say this, but we really have to cut the shit with this fuck poop. I mean, how many more times are we gonna get a half-created game and still be asked to pay money for it? It's like sponsoring a lollipop for 10 years, then when you finally get it, someone already shoved it in their ass and stuck it to the closest animal they could find. Yes, the game has a lot of bugs throughout the story, but that's not really going to be my biggest complaint. Before I get to that, I want to talk about what Sons of the Forest does right, because there were a lot of moments that caused my jaw to drop. Consider this your official spoiler warning. First, the game's environment alone deserves a 10 out of 10. Everything that you see is a vast open terrain of trees and mainland stretching for what seems like eternity. The landscape is almost like a Bob Ross painting with mixtures of different tones and hues. If you were a fan of the cannibals in the first game, you're gonna love what they bring to the table here. I was able to discover a few different kinds of mutated specimen on the island, including this giant blob of waste called a sluggy. I was also attacked by these elongated limb freaks that backed me into the corners of the tunnels. Some of the enemies are blind and can't see you if you're lying low and moving slowly through the darkness. Usually my strategy is to just sprint right through each and every tunnel as fast as I can to avoid damage in every way possible, so I guess you don't have to sneak. The weapons are plentiful and the resources are diverse. I discovered a room where you can 3D print things into resources the player can use, such as tech mesh, arrows, a red mask, a sled, and a couple of other things. There are multiple 3D printers located throughout the forest, and they all do the same thing, but it's convenient to include them in more than one place. You can find printer ink scattered in different locations as well, and you'll have to restock the printer every so often as you create new gear. My biggest compliment goes to the hype for finding out the lore as I played. Right next to the 3D printer, I found a locked door. It requires a keycard to open it. This is where I knew there was a deeper secret inside the whole game that I had missed out on, and I was fully ready, willing, and able to commit to finding everything I needed to prep myself for the amped up ending. Holy shit. What a great find. Hey, that's terrifying. Okay, which button was it to get my shotgun? I already forgot. Whatever this is, whatever happened to these people, it's bad. To crack the code and figure out what lies beneath the forest. The exploration, in my opinion, is a lot easier than the first time around. Unlike the forest, in Sons of the Forest, you start with a GPS and some light tactical equipment. It's a false hope for us to assume this gear will save our lives, but it's an improvement over the first game's plain axe. Using these tools will allow you to cut down trees and gather resources necessary for your survival. Building camps is a lot different. Usually having the items you need for a recipe is enough. In this game, for example, if you want to make a fire, you have to first equip your sticks, aim down at the ground, and click to snap them in halves. It's actually a really cool mechanic. Building camping huts can be complex as well, as you'll need different variations of log cuts and splits in order to perfect your shelter. Maintaining a healthy balance of food, water, and health is obviously mandatory here. You don't want to let too many of the bastards in the woods get close to you. I played on normal, and I found them doing massive damage to me in as little as 2 to 3 hits. No wonder ranged weapons are encouraged later on. Speaking of which, you're probably wondering where I got the said weaponry from. Well, I don't think I'm going to give the precise locations of all the new fancy stuff to find for 2 reasons. 1, I'm not 100% confident I found everything when I played, and 2, I feel like it would take way too long to explain the precise areas in which they can be found. Considering the amount of enemies hidden inside the caves, I decided it was best to just show you the moments I discovered certain items. Oh my god, dude. This game just got 20,000 times better. Now, what else can I say about it that's awesome? The graphics don't look terrible to me, and I had to set them to low for frame rate purposes. I also didn't want my PC to catch fire and spontaneously combust into 1,000 pieces, so I thought in my head, hey, better play it safe this time around. Unfortunately, everyone, we're at the phase of the video where I feel like it wouldn't be fair to kiss the game's ass without addressing the obvious problems I have with it. If I'm in the minority, that's my own problem, and you can say what you want about that, but I couldn't find myself loving SOTF. The exploration, while much easier and much more convenient for the player this time around, it suffers from its own ailment. The map shows you everywhere you need to go. I'm not shitting you. Every cave, every point of interest, everything you need to officially complete the ending of this game is marked on your map like a fucking hotel sign inviting you to stay the night. There's no real mystery or exploration at all when it's completely stripped away like that. You don't have to show the points in this manner. I feel like it was a bit too easy for me to find things within the time I used. In just 8 days on the island, I completed the main storyline and found most of the major items in the game. While some people might say that's a good thing, I personally felt like it fell flat. The storyline doesn't make much sense, and there isn't a single line of dialogue in the entire thing besides this cutscene where Edward Puffton is shown and he says, "Get back, son."
Get down, son!
What the fuck? That's it. I still don't know what the story is trying to tell me or what the fuck I even discovered after all this trouble. I liked playing the game and gathering resources and tools, but I hated how quickly it ended. How rushed it felt. I honestly feel like I wasted a lot of my fucking time, and that's not a good thing. Maybe it would have been more fun with friends and whatnot, but I don't fucking have any, so I had to deal with what I was given. On top of that, I feel almost guilty for shaming the plot in such a harsh manner, but this has been a really hyped game since years ago when it was announced. I get tired after a while seeing these great developers make something fantastic before and then try to replicate the same formula, but the hype becomes too much. I know what you're thinking too. Tristan, the game just came out and they're constantly updating it. Give them a break. Let them have time. The game will improve over time. Fuck that. If they're absolutely sure that their game is ready for takeoff and they're charging legal tender for it, it shouldn't even come remotely close to early access. Early access should mean the earliest fucking phase of playability is tested by a small professional group of people who do that sort of thing for a living, offer actual feedback, and then it gets fixed for us by the developers. When the fuck did people start settling for less? Like, guys, what the fuck? And I know it's not $60 or $70, but $30 is a bit high considering you're only getting roughly 10 hours of gameplay on your own. I'm sure with friends you'd be able to squeeze more time out of it, but you can do that with just about anything today. Any other co-op game I can count on my fingers and toes is just as good, if not better than this. The bugs aren't exactly plentiful, but the frame rate drops and constant buggy screen lagging made it such a chore to navigate the world sometimes. And no, it's not my computer. The game isn't optimized well in the slightest, almost as if they hired a homeless man with piss-covered jeans to work in that field. It's understandable if the team is too small, or maybe the budget isn't enough to meet certain demands, but this is a little ridiculous. I can't imagine the amount of money and resources they've gotten from people buying their first game over the years. You'd think there would be some sort of professional game here, but nope. early fucking access again. Sorry if that honestly makes someone upset out there, but I'm just not a fan of paying for something that feels unfinished. I'm sure as the years go by, this game will be just as fantastic as the first, and though many people are praising it now, I can't really do the same. Sure, it was fun, and I had a blast tracking everything down by myself. Fighting the enemies in such tight corridors and open spaces felt scary and unique, especially with the new weaponry introduced here. Earlier, I stated it was worth the $30 asking price, and I meant it, but only if they plan on adding these very essential features sooner than later. Update the story and add some actual fucking lore besides documents about golf balls. Hank, good news. We have managed to find both the clubs and the golf balls. We want to thank you for all your help, and if you are ever out on the links, let's whack a few balls around. What is this dude's obsession with golf clubs and golf balls? Add an endgame boss fight that will challenge every aspect of the player and add onto the world in a way that includes more items, locations, enemies, maybe even multiple endings like the first. I can forgive bugs and performance issues, but what I can't forgive is a lazy, hastily shoved in storyline that doesn't even answer any questions. I don't know. Unless I missed a document or something, I still just have no idea what the majority of the plot is trying to tell us as the players. Did all of the people on the island die because a random cycle every 8 days occurs where if they're not inside this golden cube, they become one of the mutated cannibals? Why? And who the fuck was this woman who silently chased us the entire time? She was never explained. I don't know, you guys can go off on me if you want, but I just couldn't find myself praising it like everyone else is. I had my fun with it, but all it did really was made me want to play the first game over again, so I guess mission accomplished. With that in mind, I'll leave my thoughts there. What do you guys think about the sequel? Do you love it? Let me know in the comments, as I'm sure this isn't the last time I'm gonna cover it. With future updates coming, I feel like we might just see a significant change in due time, if the developers are serious. Because I don't know, I mean, everyone's saying it's like game of the year. Everybody's saying it's game of the year, it's fucking amazing, it's fantastic, it's one of the greatest games ever made. And if it's really getting all that praise, I have to try it. Like, I have to.
And now, my lovely audience, a compilation of my favorite memories from Sons of the Forest as narrated by me, the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh my god, even better. What? That was the goofiest fucking thing I've ever seen. What the fuck? Who the fuck? What the hell was the point in that? My only complaint so far is the fucking frame rate. Wow, I can't believe I didn't take damage. Okay, where the fuck was... Oh! What the fuck am I looking at? What the hell are you? I better just put you out of your misery.
Do not get too upset. Please, Tristan was only kidding, as he did not know the sexy mutant woman was a friend, simply a misunderstanding.
But you might find this interesting. We're calling it Artifact 1, might be related to that cube you guys found. We are officially in Lore City. Look at all this food. Oh my god. You can 3D print stuff? You're shitting me. That's awesome. So now I can, like, disguise myself. Freeze, boys! Oh, but I can't see where I'm going, though, so I kind of have to look at a weird angle. Oh, man. I am kicking ass. I'm telling you. Where does this go? What the fuck? What the fuck? What is... what?
Get down, son!
What the fuck? What? What? Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck? The first game had a boss fight. It had a fuck ton of lore. I feel like it should have been way longer. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to our channel, and thanks for checking out this video. Leave a like, comment, and since we're on the subject, enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching the content, folks.